All right, let's now connect with Ravi Joshi, Visiting Fellow, Observer Research Foundation, ORF. Welcome, Ravi ji, to DD India. First of all, at this point in time, what do the current meetings between Indian and Russian leaders during a time of considerable global uncertainty and shocks show about the durability and strength of India-Russia relations?
Now, let me start with a brief background of the Intergovernmental Commission. What does it mean? India and Russia set up this strategic partnership in the year up to 2000 when Prime Minister Vajpayee was our leader and President Putin was president of Russia. Now, we are celebrating the Silver Jubilee anniversary of that strategic partnership. This was upgraded to special privilege, strategic partnership in the year 2010. So we are already now, we are in an extremely special privileged relationship for the last 15 years. Okay, now under this mechanism, there are various institutionalized dialogue mechanisms. And the Intergovernmental Commission is the second highest body after the annual summit between the two leaders of the two countries. Now, in the Intergovernmental Commission, there are two divisions. One is the trade, economic, scientific, technological, and cultural cooperation, which is headed by our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar on the Indian side, and Denis Montoro, the first Deputy Prime Minister, on the Russian side. The second division is the Defense Ministers' Dialogue, which happens between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and their Defense Minister Shoigu. Now, there is also another mechanism called the 2+2 dialogue, which happens between the foreign minister and the defense minister meeting their counterparts whenever there is a summit level meeting between the prime minister and the president of Russia. So these are the various institutionalized mechanisms which have been in place for the last 15 years. So we are in an extremely cozy, comfortable relationship with Russia. And now, what is the focus of Jaishankar's visit? See, in the trade and economic cooperation, that set up in the year 2023 a target of reaching $30 billion in bilateral investment and reaching a bilateral trade of $100 billion. Now, bilateral investment was $50 billion, which we have already reached $30 billion, which is a remarkable achievement. And the bilateral trade was supposed to be to reach $100 billion, and we have now reached an unprecedented high of $65 billion. This is mainly because of India's import of Russian oil. Bilateral trade relationship between India and Russia, out of $60 billion, India's exports to Russia is only $4 billion. So India's imports from Russia is $61 billion. So this is mainly because of the enormous increase in our oil imports from Russia, which has been going on since the Russia-Ukraine war. Earlier, our percentage of Russian oil imports was only 2%. Now it has gone up to 42%. So this 40% increase is a phenomenal increase. In fact, this is one of the reasons which the American State Department said that India is one of the main beneficiaries of cheap or discounted oil pricing by Russia and has gained enormously from this. And so we must put the squeeze on India, which will impact upon...
Ravi Joshi ji, request you to stay with me as we are getting some live input there. Let's go to the lower house of Indian Parliament. Amit Shah is addressing.
सदस्य आप बिल पर बोलिए आप 72 के नियम के तहत बोलिए
सर दिस नियम है आपका डायरेक्शन है 19
आप 72 नियम के तहत बोलिए
सर लाइक नहीं है सर
नियम के तहत बोला आप 72
सर दिस आपका डायरेक्शन है 19A 19B
हाँ है
साफ्ता राउंड कॉल भी है हाँ वेरी क्लियरली टेलिंग at least 1 week notice is needed for introducing a bill sir I am telling that this bill This bill is to target the opposition ruling government. This bill is to threaten the people like Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu. This bill is to blackmail political party. Sir, out of sir, my point one.
आप माननीय सदस्य आप नो चलो चलिए धर्मेंद्र प्रधान जी बोलना चाहते हैं
प्रधान है यादव
आपके मेंबरों को बिठाओ
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी मैं ये जो तीनों के तीनों विधेयक आए हैं
All right, Home Minister Amit Shah trying to introduce the three key bills in Parliament. We'll touch this story in a short while from now. Let me go back to Ravi Joshi, visiting fellow ORF. Sir, you were making your point on the robust trade ties between India and Russia. Would it be fair to say that the current visit to Russia by the External Affairs Minister and little earlier by National Security Advisor G. Doval were partly or fully inspired by the decisions taken by US President Donald Trump?
This Intergovernmental Commission meeting assumes enormous significance in the backdrop of the 25% extra tariff on the secondary tariffs that President Trump has imposed upon India for importing Russian oil. Okay, now this was actually meant to squeeze both India and Russia. And he also announced that because we put pressure on India, India has put pressure on President Putin to come to the negotiating table, which I doubt very much, but there may be some truth in it. Okay. Anyway, so we saw on August 15th, President Trump and President Putin had a meeting in Alaska to discuss the Ukraine issue. And there has been some progress in the sense that President Trump initially insisted on ceasefire and President Putin...
All right, let's go back to the Parliament. Here, Amit Shah introducing the key bills in Parliament.
की कार्रवाई 3 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है
Joshi ji, yes, Parliament proceedings in the lower house, Lok Sabha adjourned now till 3 p.m. I really apologize for those interruptions. Sir, you may please continue the point on Intergovernmental Commission, this meeting getting added significance due to decisions taken by Donald Trump in the past month.
Yes, I was saying that this Intergovernmental Commission meeting assumes a lot of significance in the backdrop of what President Trump, the sanctions that Trump has imposed upon India for importing Russian oil. Now, we are not backing out. That is the most important thing. You know, neither Russia is backing out nor India is backing out from continuing our trade in Russian oil. And we have made it very clear to the President of the US that our trade relationship with Russia is a separate issue. That has nothing to do with our trade relationship with America or with China or with any other country. So there we stand very firm on that. And I'm sure that is what Mr. Jaishankar will also emphasize in his meeting with the Russian counterpart. So now, you know, what is important is the geopolitical effect of the Russia-Ukraine war and America's intervention and European intervention on putting pressure on Russia. How will that play upon the other countries who are affected by trade relations? Now, there is definitely going to be pressure on us. There's no doubt. And the secondary tariff will kickstart on 27th August, which is hardly 7 days from now. So, and there has been no significant progress on the Russia-Ukraine talks. Though Zelensky was in the White House 2 days ago, and they are now talking about a bilateral meeting and a trilateral meeting between Russia, Ukraine, and probably with Trump also mediating between the two. So it is not very clear which will take first. I'm sure the bilateral meeting will be positioned first, and then President Trump will come and join them. So this is what is likely to happen.
Okay.
So
Ravi Joshi ji, finally, the press conference that was held earlier in the day by the Russian embassy in New Delhi, they have elaborated on increasing cooperation within BRICS, particularly in the financial sphere. But just a few days ago, the External Affairs Ministry spokesperson had said to a media query that de-dollarization is not part of the Indian agenda. So how do we look at this?
Yes, that is a very tricky issue. The BRICS countries are trying to get away from the dollar hegemony, okay, and do their trading within their own local currencies. Like Brazil buys from China, and Brazil pays in its currency, and China pays Brazil in yuans, and India buys and pays in rupees and buys and pays in yuans. This kind of a trade was what was emphasized by the BRICS collective, but India has not fully agreed to that arrangement. And India has also come under pressure again from President Trump that if you go for de-dollarization, then you will be paying a very heavy penalty from the American side. You must remember that we have a huge trade balance with America. India-America trade is more than $85 billion. It's now almost touching $100 billion. And it is in our favor, the balance of trade. So it will be foolhardy on our part to get away from this trade and get into a de-dollarized economy. So it's a very fine game we are playing. It's a very fine balance we have to achieve on this, because we are a partner of BRICS, we are a partner of the SEO, in which we are with Russia, China, and various other countries in Central Asia, and in BRICS we are with South Africa and Brazil, but we are also partners with America in Quad. So we are playing a multipolar game here, and we are standing on so many stools, and we are playing with so many balls in the air. So this is a very tricky game. And we have to balance our relationship with so many countries. And it's very difficult. And now we are improving our relations with China. Our relationship with Russia are rock solid. Okay, but our relationship with China had gone through various ups and downs in the last 4 years. And we are back to maintaining some kind of a arrangement by which we want peace and tranquility on our border and starting trade. So all this is... So this is a very complex game that we are playing, and we have to watch, wait, and see how it will pan out.
Yeah, of course. But perhaps one could say that relations of India with both Russia and China are perhaps, a little more sharper and stronger today than they were a month earlier. Thank you very much, Ravi Joshi ji, for being with us on DD India News Hour.